Day, Doshima's mother confronted him. Doshima, you are bringing shame to our family. Why do you persist in this foolishness? Find someone else, someone who is not an Osu. Doshima looked at his mother, his eyes full of determination. Mother, I love Ladi. I will not abandon her. I'm willing to face any consequences for our love. If you cannot accept her, then do not accept me. Doshima's mother was taken aback by his words. She saw the resolve in his eyes and realized that nothing she said would change his mind. She sighed deeply, feeling a mix of frustration and sadness. Despite the continued harassment, Ladi and Doshima's love grew stronger. They supported each other through the tough times, finding solace in each other's arms. Doshima often told Ladi stories to lift her spirits and remind her of their dreams for the future. One evening, as they sat by the river, Ladi spoke softly. Doshima, I don't know how much more I can take. The villagers' hatred is too much. Maybe it's best if we part ways. Doshima held her close and whispered, Ladi, we have come this far together. We cannot give up now. I promise you, things will get better. We will find a way to be happy. Encouraged by Doshima's unwavering love, Ladi decided to keep fighting. She continued to work hard in her garden and remained kind to those who treated her poorly, hoping to change their hearts. One day, a traveling merchant named Kato visited the village. He heard about Osu tradition and the treatment of Ladi. Kato was a wise man who had seen many places and people. He decided to speak to the village chief. Chief, I have traveled far and wide, and I've seen the pain caused by such traditions, Kato said. Ladi is a good person. It is unjust to treat her this way. Love should not be bound by such prejudice. Kato's words struck a chord with him. He had seen Ladi's kindness and resilience and began to question the village's long-held beliefs. After much contemplation, the chief decided to call for a village meeting. The entire village gathered in the central square, curious about what the chief had to say. Ladi stood with her family, nervous but hopeful. Doshima stood by her side, holding her hands tightly. People of the village, the chief began. We have followed the Osu tradition for many years, but today I ask you to consider the harm it has caused. Ladi is one of us. She has shown nothing but kindness and strength, despite our mistreatment. There was a murmur among the villagers. Some nodded in agreement, while others looked skeptical. The chief continued, Kato, a wise traveler, has opened my eyes. Love and kindness should guide us, not outdated traditions. Kato stepped forward and shared stories of other places where similar practices had been abolished, leading to more harmonious communities. His words resonated with many villages who began to see the unfairness of their ways. At the meeting, a few brave villagers approached Ladi and Doshima. We are sorry for the way we treated you, one of them said. We realize now that it was wrong. Ladi felt a glimmer of hope. She smiled and thanked them for their courage. Slowly, more villagers came forward, expressing their regrets and offering their support. Doshima's parents, seeing the change in the villagers' attitude, also began to soften. They saw how much their son loved Ladi and how much she had endured for their love. One evening, Doshima's father approached Ladi and said, Ladi, I was wrong. You have shown great strength and courage. I give you my blessings to marry my son." Tears filled Ladi's eyes as she hugged Dashima's father. The acceptance she had longed for was finally becoming a reality. With the village's acceptance, Ladi and Dashima were finally free to be together. They planned their wedding, and the entire village came together to celebrate their love. The day of the wedding was filled with joy and laughter as the villagers danced and sang, embracing a new beginning. Ladi wore a beautiful dress, and Dashima looked dashing in his traditional attire. As they exchanged vows, they knew they had overcome many obstacles, but their love had prevailed. The village chief blessed their union, and Kato smiled, knowing he had helped bring about a positive change. Ladi and Dashima lived happily ever after. Years passed, and the village continued to thrive. Ladi and Dashima's children grew up in a community that had become more accepting and kind. However, the Osu system still lingered in the minds of some older villages, a relic of the past that occasionally reared its ugly head. One day, the village received news that a new king was coming to the region. King Ochanya was known for his progressive ideas and desires to bring justice and equality to his subjects. The villagers were excited and curious about what changes he might bring. The day finally arrived. The village square was filled with people, eagerly awaiting for the new king's arrival. Ladi and Dashima stood together with their children, hopeful that King Ochanya would bring lasting change. The king arrived with a grand entourage. He was a tall, imposing figure with a kind face. As he addressed the villagers, his voice was strong and filled with conviction. "People of this village," King Ochanya began, "I am honored to be your new king. I have heard many stories about your community and the traditions that you hold dear. However, I also know that some traditions can cause harm and division." The villagers listened intently, sensing that something important was about to happen. King Ochanya continued, "One such tradition is the Osu system. It has brought pain and suffering to many, and it's time for it to end. From this day forward, the Osu system is abolished. All the people, regardless of their backgrounds or heritage, are equal in the eyes of the kingdom." There was a moment of stunned silence. The villagers looked at each other, processing the king's words. Slowly, a sense of relief and joy began to spread through the crowd. Ladi and Dashima exchanged a hopeful glance. They had dreamed of this day, but never thought it would come so soon. Ladi's heart swelled with gratitude and happiness. The king raised his hand to silence the murmurs. "I understand the change can be difficult, but it is necessary for the growth and prosperity of our people. Together, we will build a future where everyone is treated with respect and dignity." After the king's decree, the village began to transform. The older villagers who had clung to the Osu tradition slowly began to accept the new reality. The younger generation, inspired by King Ochanya's words, embraced the change with open hearts. The village held a grand celebration to honor the king's decree and the new era of equality. There were dances, songs, and feasts that lasted for days. Ladi and Dashima were at the center of the festivities, their love story now a symbol of hope and resilience. During the celebration, King Ochanya approached Ladi and Dashima. "I've heard much about your story, He said with a warm smile, "Your love and courage have been an inspiration to many. I am grateful for your strength and your willingness to fight for what is right." Ladi felt tears of joy welling up in her eyes. "Thank you, Your Majesty. We have always believed that love can conquer all." The king nodded. "And it has. Your village is a testament to the power of love and acceptance. Together we will build a future where no one is judged by the past, but by the contents of their character." With the Osu system abolished, the village has flourished even more. The children of Ladi and Doshima grew up in a world where they were free to love and be loved without fear of prejudice. They heard their parents' story many times and were proud of the legacy they carried. Ladi and Doshima continued to live their lives with joy and fulfillment, knowing that they had played a part in creating a better world for their children and grandchildren. They often visited the river where they had shared so many precious moments, now a symbol of their enduring love. As they sat by the river one evening, Doshima took Ladi's hand. "We did it, Ladi. We changed the world." Ladi smiled, her heart full of love and contentment. "Yes, Doshima, we did it. And it all started with a single act of love." The legacy of Doshima and Ladi's story continued to inspire the village for generations. Their courage, resilience, and unwavering belief in the power of love created a world where everyone could live with dignity and respect. And so their story lived on, a shining example of how